So let's read Colossians chapter 1, verses 16 and 17. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. Our experience of life tells us that everything that is made has a maker. The idea that this intricately ordered universe came about by chance out of nothing simply will not do. Who made this universe and why it was made are reasonable questions for us to ask. But they're questions that science simply cannot answer, and the idea that science gives us all the answers simply is not true. It can't, in fact, be true. There's no experiment that I could conduct that would enable me to know what you're thinking just now, but I could know if you were to tell me. So although I cannot know by science, I can know by revelation. So who the Creator is and why he created can be known by us by revelation. So here are the introductory words of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The Apostle John explains that all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Paul underlines this in the verses we've read when he writes, by him or in him were all things created that are in heaven and that are on earth. The Son of God's love, whom we thought about in verse 13, is the divine architect of this cosmos. He has designed the physical laws that govern how this universe operates, the laws of genetics and chemistry, all those curious mathematical formula we learned in school. He has designed them. He has designed the moral laws of the universe, visible and invisible, and has given it that spiritual dimension which is ignored by so many people nowadays. And then Paul writes, all things were created by or through him. He's the divine builder of this cosmos. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, Psalm 33. He spoke and it was done, Psalm 33 again. This universe owes its existence not to an accidental and inexplicable Big Bang, nor to a fortunate convergence of unlikely events, but to the deliberate and almighty word of the Son of his love. And Paul concludes verse 16 with the words, and for him. There's a reason for this creation, and he is that raison d'etre. John wrote in Revelation chapter 4, thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. He is the divine reason for the cosmos. God has created this universe for him. As Paul wrote in Ephesians chapter 1, it is God's grand purpose to gather together in one all things in Christ, to make him the head over all things. How easy it is to lose sight of what God's grand purpose is. And so whenever we come to verse 17 here, he is before all things, and by him all things consist. I find this clause tremendously reassuring. You see, we live after things. We're reactive to circumstances we find ourselves in. But he is before all things. He is in control. He knows the end from the beginning. He holds everything together. Are you worried, as some people used to be, about nuclear obliteration? Are you worried about the end of civilization? Are you worried about environmental catastrophe? Are you worried about pandemic? He is in control, and he is the divine sustainer of all things. God's purpose in creation will be fulfilled, and nothing can shake it or deflect it in the least degree. The next video in the little series will enlarge on God's great purpose in Christ.